Okay. Now we're down to hopefully the last video in the fall series. We got 7 random shows left, plus Bleach at the very end. So let's pull up the random number generator and get this done. First up is gonna be 3. What is 3? TsumaSho. I have not heard anyone talk about this show, I don't think. I don't even know what it's short for. But I guess we're about to find out.
I don't get this one. Like, I don't understand what it is attempting to do. So, I totally forgot that I did remember this one, actually, and I remember no one talking about it at all after the first episode, actually. So, this is the one about the guy whose wife dies and then gets reincarnated, and then him and his daughter meet her again when she's a 10-year-old. And you might be thinking, is this going to be sus? I don't know if it gets sus. It seems like it's not going to get sus. Because, like, the wife character immediately, like, sort of lampshades that. But, like, what could possibly happen in this show after the first half? Because they fucking speedrun it. Like, we get the backstory of everything in, like, the first 5 minutes. Like, meets the wife, has a kid, wife dies, and then the husband and the daughter are sad about it for the next 10 years. Wow, a little bit of dysfunction there, huh? Like, I get it, but, like, holy shit. And then wife shows up, and immediately it starts to make them happy again. Like, that was the single solution to their problems. Maybe that's where it's gonna be going, is, like, the method of, like, hey, you have to live like I'm not here anymore. Maybe that's where it's going to go eventually, but, like, they also sort of give away the whole thing. What am I trying to say? It's immediately like the wife shows up as the little kid and immediately just starts nagging them to stop being so mopey. Like, yeah, that's the point, I guess. What do you do after that? For another, presumably 11 and a half episodes. Now, maybe I would be interested in what they do at that if the show didn't look incredibly mid. But the show looks incredibly mid. Like, I almost laughed at the face of anguish of this guy as he was crying over his dead wife, because it just looked kind of silly. Yeah, I don't understand what the appeal of this could possibly be, and the production is not strong enough to make me interested in understanding what the interest could possibly be. Next.
Okay, TsumaSho off the list. Crank down the random number generator, and next is 3. Hamidashi Creative. I don't know anything about this one. The key visual looked like some kind of idol thing, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's give it a shot.
So with TsumaSho, I was confused as to what the appeal was. With Hamidashi Creative, I was confused as to what the fuck the story was. This is a TV short. They're only 3.5 minutes, and the ED is a minute long, so they're only 2.5 minute episodes, really. But I have no clue what the fuck happened. Other than students in some kind of club were making takoyaki, and they were experimenting with different fillings, and the animation was terrible. PNG ass designs. So I was like, what the fuck is this show about? I go to Mal and read the description. Does not tell me anything. Nothing in the description of this on Mal happened in the first episode. So then I go to AniList. Same copy-paste description. But then I see on AniList there was a manga adaptation that said Hamidashi Creative Adult Edition. I was like, there's a porn version of this? And I clicked on it, and that's when I found out that this is an adaptation of a visual novel. Which makes so much more sense in really stupid ways. So this is just a TV short to promote a visual novel. What a waste of fucking time.
Alright, Hamidashi Creative off the list. Jesus Christ, that was so dumb. Anyway, crank down the random number Jader. Up next is 5. Negative Positive Angler. This one was sort of a dark horse of the season, kind of. Saw a lot of people talking about how much they liked it without really talking about what it was about, aside from the fact that it's a fishing anime. Hopefully it's better. Well, actually, no. I was going to say hopefully it's better than the last fishing anime that I watched, which I thought was Diaries of Our Days at Breakwater. But then I remembered that Slow Loop came out after that, and Slow Loop was pretty good. So hopefully it's at least as good as Slow Loop. Hopefully.
Yeah, unfortunately this one's not quite hooking me. I got a little bit into the second episode of Negative Positive Angler. Honestly, I don't really have anything negative to say about it. Haha. Negative, huh? It's mostly all positives. Haha. I'm gonna end that joke now. But it's just not really hooking me. Like, it's got a pretty decent setup. This guy who had a falling out at his... probably looked like he was like a stocks guy, and he screwed up and he went into debt, and he's just getting into more and more debt, and everything's just going wrong in his life. Literally the first scene is him trying to hang himself, and he fucks up and the noose falls off the wall or the ceiling. Bit of dark humor. Character designs are pretty okay. Animation's pretty decent. Not anything spectacular, but it's competent. Except for the CG fish. The CG fish look pretty fucking bad. It's got interesting sort of circumstance for our main protagonist, and he's looks like he has some tumors. Doesn't say where, but looks like the doctor gave him like 2 years if nothing is done about it, and he doesn't have the money, presumably to do anything about it. Doesn't seem to want to ask his parents for any more money since they're already paying for his tuition. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good setup. Everything theoretically is in place. It's just not really grabbing me. There's no really... To go with the fishing metaphor, I'm just not biting, I guess. The lure is not attractive enough for me. It is a competently made lure, but it's just not one that I have any interest in biting. It doesn't have that extra flair to it that would make me more interested, be it cinematically or in terms of narrative or like thematic potential. This is one of those shows that I would put into camps like... It reminds me a lot for some reason, it reminds me of how I feel about the Eccentric Family, where it's like this very beloved show that not a lot of people have watched, but the people who have watched it really like it, and I tried it out, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, I just don't vibe with it. So, unfortunate.
Okay, negative, positive, Angler off the list. We're down to the last 5 shows of the year. Honestly, a lot of these are still potential finishes on here, so this video could end up being decently long, or I could end up splitting it like episodes 3 and 4. But anyway, let's crank down that random number generator. 4 randoms left. Next one is 1. Demon Lord 2099. Okay, this is probably the only one on the list that I don't have a whole lot of hopes for. A lot of people talked about this. I don't know what it's about, other than Demon Lord and maybe a sci-fi setting. I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Holy shit, that was fucking lame and boring. I got 10 minutes into Demon Lord 2099, and it was so fucking boring. The intro was way too fucking long, and once it got to the Demon Lord Resurrection time skip, not that I didn't realize that I didn't care. I knew that I didn't care, but it was just like, holy shit, I don't fucking care about any of this. I have no reason to be interested in this particular Demon Lord. In fact, I can tell you definitively the moment where I lost interest in this show. They were doing the, like, past time stuff, and there was, like, some kind of demon, like, turning people into blood piñatas on the battlefield. I'm like, oh, that guy's got a cool hat. Okay, this Demon Lord's got some style to him. And then it cuts to the actual Demon Lord. I'm like, wait, that wasn't the Demon Lord? It's this lame-looking dude? What the fuck? Ugh. Lame. You could have given the Demon Lord a cool hat, but you didn't. Boring. That's all I can say is it's fucking boring. Too much exposition. Not any sauce whatsoever except for the guy in the cool hat. Give the guy in the cool hat a story. I'm sure he shows up again in this show, because why else would they show him in the past battle scene if he wasn't going to show up again? Fuck this.
Alright, Demon Lord 2099 off the list. Good riddance. Alright. 3 randoms left, and then we'll get to Bleach. Let's see what we roll next. 2. What is 2? Puniru is a Kawaii slime. This one was kind of divisive, from what I saw. There was a handful of people that really liked it, and a lot of people thought the script was kind of garbage. Let's see which camp I fall into.
You know, when you write a comedy around the fact that a character is being annoying, you always run the risk of the comedy just being annoying. That's kind of how I feel about Puniru. I got through like 2/3 of the first episode. The humor's mostly just annoying. Occasionally it's got like a decently funny gag, like the part where she just cuts her tits off and they flop down on the desk. They got a decent chuckle out of me. And it's actually pretty decent looking too. I don't particularly care for the character designs that aren't Puniru, but Puniru's got a fucking phenomenal design. Love everything about it, especially in the context of the show. Just very fun and unique looking. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say. It's just that the humor is very annoying most of the time. I am groaning more than I am chuckling. So that's kind of a failure.
Okay, Puniru unfortunately coming off the list. We're down to 2 randoms left plus our final end cap. And I think we're just going to ditch the random number generator for the rest of this, because this is a decent final order for this video. So, Tower of God Season 2. Really liked the first season a lot more than some other people. I heard this one kind of crashed and burned or something along those lines. Something went wrong that made a lot of people really not like this second season. I hope they're wrong.
Yeah, I think I get why people didn't like this one. I got almost 3 episodes into Tower of God Season 2. The visual downgrade is apparent immediately. Like, now I haven't seen the first season of Tower of God since it aired almost 4 years ago. Actually, no, it was 2020, so it's been over 4 years, actually. Fuck. It's been almost half a decade since the first season of Tower of God? Jesus. Anyway, regardless, the first scene of that series I could still remember very clearly because of how incredibly visually cool it looked. The colors, the lighting, the framing, the animation, it just looked so fucking cool. And that distinctive aesthetic is one of the things I really liked about the first season. It wasn't perfect, and it had its faults here and there, but goddamn did it look cool. And now this second season just looks like generic action anime. Maybe slightly, the character designs are slightly more crisp and polished than average, but the action isn't particularly incredible. The framing is pretty average. Color design, pretty average, except for like Bomb's attacks look kind of cool. But also, boy, do I not give a shit about anyone in this new cast. I do not care for a single person at all. Maybe Yiwa or Yiha. I forgot what her name is. The princess character. But only because she's hot. But also, I am much more interested in whatever Rachel's doing right now. That's the bulk of it. I care about Bomb, and I want to know how he got to be the super badass dude that he is now, and I want to see him interact with the old cast again. But I do not give a flying fuck about this new cast. And I don't want to sit through a whole season of them. They are lame. I don't like them. The comedy's not good. It's super mediocre. The only thing that's really pulling its weight is Kevin Penkin's score, which is still really good, but everything else is so lackluster that it almost feels out of place with how big and bombastic it is at times. And you know what? Also, the third episode, the room game, I have no fucking clue I don't understand the rules at all. I legit do not understand how you win. I don't know how the gatekeeper works. I don't know how capturing rooms works. Do you just walk in? They sped through the rules so fucking fast with barely any visual aids. They had visual aids, but they weren't helpful visual aids. That I just didn't understand how it worked. Man, I would love to know what happened with Bomb and why he... Well, no, I know why he's going on the revenge quest. That was clear from the end of Season 1. But I want to see more of that. Maybe I'll pick up the manhwa? Who knows? God, what a disappointment.
Okay. Tower of God Season 2. Oops. Unfortunately coming off the list. What a shame. Anyway, the last non-end cap of the season of the year, Whisper Me a Love Song. This was supposed to be a spring season show, I believe. But it turns out that this is the most punished Yuri anime on the planet. Production issues out the ass, leading to, I think, the last 2 episodes getting delayed until the very end of 2024. So, like, 6 whole months. And I'm recording this the day after the Blu-rays got canceled. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I like the manga. Let's see how it goes.
Well, you can only put so many bandages on a severed limb, I guess. I got halfway through Whisper Me a Love Song, most punished Yuri anime in existence at the moment. Which means I got to that horrendous concert scene. It was just as bad as Twitter made it out to be. Fucking animation melting all over the place. Poorly timed. I watched Yori's hand turn into the Thing at one point. That was immensely disturbing. This is such a broken production. And you can kind of tell from the very beginning that they were not firing on all cylinders. Or they were firing on all cylinders, but some of those cylinders have cracks in them. Like, there are so many cinematic tricks in this that are very obviously there to cover for the fact that they couldn't animate everything. Like these weird picture-in-picture shots, or not picture-in-picture, but like these weird segmented frames with this screensaver-ass background, for lack of a better term, that they use constantly throughout the series. Like there's this one shot where it's like supposed to be like a split screen of 2 people talking on the phone, but you can only see one side of the conversation, and the other side was that screensaver ass thing. Oof. And I actually like the manga for this one quite a bit. It's not like one of my favorites, but I definitely like pick it up when new volumes come out. And I think it's been like over a year now, I think, since the last volume. I think the next one comes out in September. But I've got all 8 volumes that are currently out so far. And the anime just feels like a lesser version of the manga. Like, the narrative elements are there. I love Hina or Himari and Yori's relationship. They're very cute together. I like that they actually talk through their problems. It might seem a little like prescriptive in a certain way, almost clinical sometimes, but like actually having proper communication for once is really nice with rom-coms. And I think they have really good chemistry together. Some of the emotional angst of the best friend character was pretty nice. All of the like narrative elements that were good in the manga are there. It's just the way that they're put on screen is terrible. Well, mediocre is a better word. Like a lot of the dialogue, especially like the first couple episodes, feels like they're rushing through stuff. Like, not that the dialogue is sped up, but it's like they're cutting everything to be very fast paced and not let everything breathe as much as it needs to. Yeah, this is just a really not good adaptation. And I'm sure you've already seen, like, all of this horrendous things that have happened to this anime. Like, aside from episode 6 having that complete meltdown of a concert scene. Like, the final 2 episodes didn't even air when they were supposed to because the production just completely collapsed. And they didn't air until the very end of 2024, which was about 2 weeks ago now, and 6 months after they were supposed to. And just recently, they canceled the Blu-rays for these. So, man, that's rough. It's rough that this happened. And this is the first in a while where we've seen such a high-profile production meltdown. It's been a hot minute since we've seen a super high-profile one like this. I guess the last one would be, like, Wonder Egg would be the last time we had such a high, such a very, like, one that was supposed to be a big hit for the season just completely ate shit in the final episodes. Yeah, it sucks. Go read the manga. I'm also not super big on this next arc of the story. It's not my favorite part. I like the Himari Yori relationship stuff a lot more than Shiho. I think that's the new girl that gets introduced for this next arc. She's fine, but I like the other stuff more, so it's certainly not interested in an even less good version of that, so we'll just move on, unfortunately.
Alright. Whisper Me a Love Song, unfortunately coming off the list, which means it's time for the last anime of the year. Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, Part 3, The Conflict. Really liked the first 2 parts. Fuck it, let's jump in.
Yep, that's pretty much just more of what we got with the first 2 entries, I guess. Just finished up Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War, The Conflict. This is part 3 of 4 parts to this adaptation. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to add. I thought I was going to have a lot more to add, but, like, I would definitely go back and reference my, when I covered the first 2 parts in, like, I think it was, like, the summer series of last year. I think that's when I covered it. But just to recap some of the stuff that's still continuing on from those 2 seasons, goddamn gorgeous. This is, like, the most consistently bang for your buck shonen adaptation that I've seen maybe ever, or at least, like, in terms of, like, Shonen Jump adaptations, in terms of it just being so incredibly good, gorgeous to look at, in terms of the action being so incredibly creative and intense and well animated. This is Bleach going fucking hard. I really loved some of the powers, the new powers that they're giving people in this. Just the creativity of the different ideas they have. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand some of them. I simply do not understand some of them. Now, part of this may be because the first, like, 4.5 episodes, I was watching this, because this is on Hulu, but Hulu is fucking terrible for watching anime subtitled. It's, like, often completely unusable, so I went over to the cat site for it. And the first batch I downloaded, the subs were not good. Like, broken English I was reading. I was like, what the hell? So then I eventually, and like it got worse as the episodes went on. So then I had to go back and find a new sub batch. If you're wondering, the first batch that I was watching were the Ember Raws, or not Ember Raws, the Ember subgroup, which normally I thought they were just like they just ripped stuff from the site. But like, and I know Hulu's subs aren't great, but I can't imagine them being this bad. So then I switched over to Erai Raws, and those were much easier to read. I do plan on going back and once the final part's out, I'm going to binge the entire thing front to back. So hopefully once I do that, I'll understand some of the power systems better. Like one of the Squad Zero characters, the lady, I don't understand her Bankai at all. Looks really fucking cool. The Bankais in this are so fucking cool and creative and just out there. I don't fully understand how they work, other than to use a more modern term, domain expansion, which is definitely something that this is definitely, it's very obvious to how much influence Jujutsu Kaisen pulls from this show, from Bleach. But yeah, I really, just a goddamn good action show. In terms of the stuff that's not dumb action fun, so this was another one of those, a lot of like small character arcs, or not character arcs, but small character moments spattered here and there, to just as sort of like, just to give different focus to characters either that we already know and to get flesh them out a little more, or for characters that are mostly new to this arc, or for characters that have been around but haven't really gotten that much characterization. Like, I really loved Shunsui's flashback and stuff, and all the stuff with the Issei family. Really added a surprising amount to his sort of the laid back nature of his character, and sort of explained a lot of how he acts around people. And seeing him in the capacity, in the position of the lead captain now was very fun to watch. Ukitake had a pretty interesting one that, again, I don't fully understand, with the left hand of the Soul King. But goddamn, it looks cool. There's some really fucking cool imagery around that, all around all of the Soul King stuff, and just also this is a fucking graphic series, at least by anime standards, by Shonen Jump standards. This is graphic. We got fucking like fleshy bits flying everywhere, couple blood pinatas, but like really a bit meatier, I guess, in terms of blood pinatas as far as anime goes. Got people's heads getting blown off and shit. It's some people getting wiped out, to quote Samuel L. Jackson from one of those Star Wars documentaries. Now, if I recall, I'd meant in the previous video when I talked about this series, I mentioned that I was concerned about how they were going to use what Ishida's motivation was for turning on Ichigo and joining the Yuabaha, the Quincy King. Because, as it turns out in this one, the plan in this season, the plan is to just fully rewrite the world in Yuabaha's image and how he desires the world to be made up, which probably means no Soul Reapers, obviously. And at the beginning of this one, it's like very like he's still doing that. He's still totally on Yuabaha's side. I'm like, man, they better come up with a really fucking good excuse for why he's doing this. Now again, if you somehow made it this far into the seasonal wrap-up show without getting spoiled for anything, this spoiler coming up for Ishida's motivations for doing what he's doing in this series, okay, that's probably enough time for you to click off or anything. He's doing a double cross. He's trying to get in good with Yuabaha so that he can kill him at some point. Or at least that was the plan before Jugram found out. Which, I'm not sure why I didn't figure that out sooner. I'm really not sure why that didn't cross my mind. I did like the little twist as to why. Like, it turns out that... Now, this is another thing that I'm not sure on. I think the implication is that it was actually Yuabaha that ended up killing a bunch of the Quincy's and it wasn't the Soul Reapers? Or maybe those are just two separate instances. One where the Soul Reapers killed a bunch of Quincy's and one where Yuabaha killed a bunch of Quincy's. Because Yuabaha was using their power to restore himself. Again, not very clear. Either way, it's a good motivator for... well, I mean, aside from he's going to completely rewrite the world bit, it's a good motivator for Ishida. So I am less frustrated with it now. But this it kind of leads into this season has a habit of not having like big momentous plot reveals. Like, a lot of the plot reveals in this show kind of just happen. Not to the extreme of, like, let's say, Attack on Titan Season 2 with the Armored Titan and Colossal Titan reveal. It's not that extreme. But a lot of the plot twists and plot reveals in this season happen with a little less bombast than I would have expected or hoped for. So... It's not like a huge downside, but it's like, it could have used a little bump there. I did notice that Tomohisa Taguchi has been promoted to chief director for this series now, and so now the normal director now is a guy Hikaru Murata, I think, who I looked him up, and he hasn't really done much that's noteworthy. He did work a lot on the previous two seasons of Thousand Year Blood War. Well, not a lot, but he did some work for it, so at least he has experience with this franchise. And Taguchi is still here, but he has stepped back into the chief director role. Honestly, I didn't notice that much of a change. Like, his color design choices are still all over the place. The intensity of it all is still there. He's still letting Shiro Sagisu run buck wild with the soundtrack, which this might be one of Sagisu's most fun soundtracks that I've heard so far. It's probably like there's this very menacing and over-the-top chorus track that's in English. And it's very fun to listen to. Just the soundtrack along with the artwork and animation, carry these action scenes so well. There's a reason Shirosagi Sue is as acclaimed as he is. If you don't know who he is, aside from doing the original Bleach series, he also did Evangelion, and he did Magi. Those are the other... Oh, and Karakano. He also did that. So those are like his big ones. I'm sure there's a couple other ones that he's done that I'm forgetting, but those are like the big ones. Yeah, I'm still really enjoying this one. This might be my maybe least favorite of all of the entries so far, but not by much. I would put it on par with the second one, because I'd put it on par with the second season of this. I would still say the first season is probably my favorite at this point. I don't know if it's just because how impacting it was out of the gate, and then it wore off, or if it's because the first season actually had like a nice character arc for Ichigo in it, because Ichigo is not super present in this season, so that's a little bit of a letdown. He's not now. They do replace him with like a bunch of other really interesting people, like all the different captains and stuff. Like, we got some Kuratsuchi stuff. Fucking psycho mad scientist captain. That shit was graphic as hell and very fun. What else was it? We got this season was also like just sort of a bring everybody back kind of season. Like, we got the Visors coming back. We got some of the full bringers coming in. Ririka, Best Girl, made a couple appearances. We got some of the Arankars from Wako Mundo. Grimjow and Nell came back. I love Nell. She's great. A lot of Yoruichi this season, which I was not expecting. Definitely appreciate that. God, Bleach just has the best girls out of the big three by a long shot. It's like not even fucking close. It's just not. Yeah, this was hella fun. I really, really enjoyed this. They have not set a premiere date for the final season, but I'm looking forward to it. It's probably going to be 2026 at this point. Maybe the end of 2025. Who knows? Because God, does anyone else remember when they said like, yeah, we're going to do one entry every 3 seasons, and they did that for the first 2, and then the second one, and then the third season was like a year and a quarter after the second season, and now we don't know when the final season's going to be. Which, you know what? That's still faster than I would have expected, considering the intensely high quality of it all. Yeah, Bleach, good. I hope it ends well.
Okay, Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War Part 3 is complete. And we're going to scroll up, and we're going to put you in the number 13 spot. Not quite as high as I was expecting, but a decent 8 is still a damn good score. Can't wait for the finale. And with that, the fall season comes to a close, along with the entirety of the 2024 year of anime. So, let's recap. Our expected minimum was 11, and our maximum was 20, and I believe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... Wait, hold on. Miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we got 15 fall season shows. So right smack dab in the middle there. And I believe we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them are TV series. Then 1, 2, 3. 3 are movie. No, 4 are movies. And then we have 2 short series. So, yeah. I think I counted that right. If not, whatever. We'll get to that in a different video. So, that's all for the 2024 anime season, or year of anime. We got 64 entries total. And anyway, the next entry you'll see from me on this channel is going to be my top 20 compilation, where I'll just compile all of the seasonal wrap-up show stuff into 2 videos, my 11 through 20 and then my 1 through 10. And then after that, we'll have a little special surprise series that I'm going to try out before we get to the winter 2025 anime. But until then, my name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.